And hello, what's going on? How you doing? All right, we're getting it started here. I want to thank you for joining me this evening. Okay, are we working here? All right, looks like it. All right, cool beans. All right, it's been a really interesting time. So, I hate to be the one that like to say I told you so, but I told you so. They're not hiding it any longer about what they're wanting to do to all of us. And it's right here. It's happening, and more of it's coming. And they're not going to hold back. The first thing, I was going to do something else tonight. I was going to show you something else, but you know what? I'm going to start off with something that's extremely important, and I want everyone to hit the share button on this for me. Please like, follow, subscribe. No matter how you're watching this, share this video out. Yeah, I do a lot of videos, and I show stuff. I present stuff to people that they need to pay attention to. Now, I don't present this stuff because I want you to be afraid. And I get people to send me messages saying, oh my goodness, Will, you're talking about doom and gloom. But what I realize is that the same people that sending me these messages saying that, Will, you're talking about doom and gloom, they have fear in their heart. You cannot have fear in your heart. I'm only reporting on this stuff, and I'm only telling this stuff because people need to be aware of what's happening in our world so you can get ready. Does that make any sense? Now, again, I've mentioned this before, and I never try to equate myself to Noah. But you know what? It makes me think about this. What was it like? Did people say that he was fear-mongering? Did people say that he was talking doom and gloom? I'm just putting the question out there. And I constantly think about it. And I even have conversations with people that are really close to me. And I'm sitting there telling them this stuff that's happening, and they don't want to hear it. They want to act like it's not even happening. And I said, you know what? It so reminds me of what happened in the days of Noah, when he kept telling everybody, you've got to get ready. And the only reason why I'm sitting there saying it, because some people never even pay attention. And I truly believe that God called me to do what I'm doing, or I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't have this drive to do it. I would not have it. And my only purpose, my only goal is to glorify God. And some people send me messages and they're just really upset with me because I'm showing all this stuff that's going on. That's why I'm constantly asking people to share the video. Please, if you do nothing else, if you don't support me in any other kind of way, please at least share the video. At least share this video. At least share my videos. That's all I'm asking, right? That's all I can ask. That's like the minimum. I'm literally like begging people just to share the video. And it's not because I'm on here because I want people to feel a certain way. I'm on here doing this because I'm relaying the information to you. That's what it comes down to. Are you going to pay attention? Are you just going to be like, well, you know what? That's not going to happen in my lifetime, even though the stuff I'm showing you is happening in your lifetime. I can't tell you how many people send me those messages. People are upset with me because I tell the truth. When I was younger, I was always told, I was always had this impression. You told the truth no matter what. If the truth is going to get you in trouble, then you tell the truth. But you always tell the truth. So there it is. If telling the truth gets me in trouble, then so be it. I guess I'm going to be in trouble because, you have a group on the left that hates the truth. One of the things I want to talk about, and this is something that I kept mentioning to people, that they're eventually going to come. I did a video maybe 3 weeks ago, thereabout. Give a day or two, a week or two. And I named it. I said, I told you, here it comes. You need to get ready. And I didn't show any violence. I didn't show any pornography. I didn't show, if there was any violence, it was those on the left. But, I don't ever show the really extreme. Well, I did show one extreme, but not here. I don't really show the extreme when I'm broadcasting the way I am on this nightly broadcast here. I really don't show the extreme. It's just too much. Like you can put it on Twitter, but I don't put it anywhere else. But YouTube dinged one of my videos and said it wasn't appropriate for kids under 18. And I'm like, nothing that I've done would be inappropriate. My point is, and the point that I'm trying to get at is that the truth, they're saying literally the truth is not for children. That's exactly what they're saying. And that's how I perceive it. That's what I'm getting out of it. Because I'm like, what are you talking about? And then there's people on Twitter. There's people on Twitter that don't like the truth. They you know what? They're so angry right now that Elon Musk, it looked like he's going to go through with Elon Musk and Twitter, that they're so butthurt about that they don't even know what, this is what I found out. That these leftists on Twitter, they don't even know what censorship is. I mean, they really don't. They go, censorship? What in the world are you talking about? I mean, they literally saying this on Twitter. And I think I'm actually live on Twitter right now. And I don't know if any of those Twitter twats are even watching, but they literally don't know what censorship is. They never had to experience it, I guess. But the people that work at Twitter, a lot of them didn't go into work. And, you know, they're all concerned about Elon Musk saying, hey, if you're going to work at Twitter, you need to check into the office, right? They don't want to go to work. They want to be able to stay at home in their underwear and continue to work on algorithms to censor the American people. That's their biggest deal. That's what they want to do. And there's been video after video, especially from Project Veritas, exposing Twitter, right? Completely exposing them. But they don't want to see it. But let me share this video here with you. This is a video from Tucker, where he's talking about the Republicans, these rhino Republicans, going along with these Democrats about the gun control in the United States of America. And I told y'all that eventually they're going to get what they want. And it's not even that. Joe Brandon and the Democrats, they found a back door, or they're using a back door to hinder our Second Amendment rights as well. But listen to Tucker. Listen to Tucker here.
We've got a Fox News alert for you. We alluded to it a moment ago. At this moment, the Senate is voting to advance a so-called gun control bill that is, in fact, a law that would allow police to confiscate firearms unconstitutionally, illegally, from American citizens who have not been charged, much less convicted of a crime.
You hear that? Not even convicted of a crime. And I keep telling y'all, if y'all for 1 second think that they're not going to come around and sit there and say that you Trump supporters should not be able to own a firearm because you supported Trump, because you're a problem. You know, they call Trump supporters white supremacists. You know, they constantly do that. So if y'all sit there for 1 second and sit there and think that law-abiding citizens are not going to be the number one target, then you are sadly mistaken.
Many Republican senators, such as Joni Ernst and Shelley Moore Capito, are reportedly voting yes on the bill. It's hard to believe that's true, but apparently it is. Senator John Cornyn, the lead Republican negotiator who has gone far left in recent years, is currently celebrating on the Senate floor because, again, only Ukrainians are allowed to have guns. Cornyn was just seen shaking hands with Chuck Schumer, his close friend. Is he representing the voters of Texas? No. But apparently John Cornyn isn't just stopping with guns. He has his sights now on immigration. Cornyn was just seen smiling while speaking to Democratic Senator Alex Padilla, saying, quote, first guns, now it's immigration. Has there ever been a greater, more brazen sellout of any group of voters than what Republican Senators Mitch McConnell, John Cornyn, and the rest are doing right now? Talk about a subversion of democracy. If they keep this up, the system will collapse. You have to represent the interests of your voters. That's why you're there.
That's why you're there. But they don't get that. They don't understand that. And they don't care. It reminds me about how these rhino Republicans, they act like they're for America. They act like they're for the American people. They're just acting. That's why they're called rhinos, because they're just Republicans in name only. They're actually Democrats disguised as Republicans. That's all that it is. And these rhino Republicans, these rhinos, they're actually going to allow the Democrats to put in these red flag laws, and they're coming for your safety. They're going to end up removing your safety if you really truly believe that they're not going to do that. And again, let me remind you one more time. They've already called parents that showed up at school board meetings domestic terrorists. They've already called Trump supporters, MAGA supporters, domestic terrorists. They've already called people who want freedom, free speech, domestic terrorists. Are you seeing a pattern? They're already labeling people that they don't like, that are on the right, as domestic terrorists, and they're automatically, you know that they're going to do it eventually. Come on. And then you can send me all the messages you want. You can send me all the messages you want saying, well, they can't do it. We have the Constitution. Yeah, send me the message. And that's all you're doing. You're sending me the message, which I agree with you. We do have the U.S. Constitution. But what you're not paying attention to is that they don't care. Because if they actually cared, they wouldn't be going to this extreme. We're repeating history all over again, just like they've done in the past with other communist nations. They disarmed the population and then bam! They removed everyone out of society that disagreed with them. And then people that disagree with them today, here in the United States of America, they're gonna eventually get tight-lipped more than people are right now. Because there's a lot of people that are tight-lipped. There's a lot of people that were tight-lipped when President Trump was in office because they were afraid of these socialist, communist democrats finding out their place of employment and getting them fired. So people got tight-lipped. And then people send me messages because I'm saying something. Do you know what I risk every single day by exposing these people? By me doing Ephesians 5:11? Do you know what I risk? Do you? Think about it. This is my job. This is what I do. This is what God called me to do. And I risk my life every single day exposing these people. And you mean to tell me that me being a black man in America, risking my life for this country, for our nation, for the people here, and you can't do it either? Start saying something. No one says you have to be violent. Don't go out and do like the left. The left, they're extremely violent. When they don't get what they want, they start rioting. They start tearing up stuff. I'm not asking anyone to do that. All I'm saying is share the video and speak up. What are you afraid of? At what point are you more afraid of the left? Or are you more afraid of God? I mean, really? At what point do we as people, at what point do we as the body of Christ, at what point do we take a stand? When do we do it? It's coming. I'm telling y'all, the stuff that I constantly be talking about, and I no crystal ball. No, I don't claim to be a prophet. You know, some people suggest that I am, but I don't claim it. I don't claim it. All I claim is that I see the writing on the wall and I'm just sharing the information with you. That's all that I'm doing. I'm doing what I believe. The one thing I do claim is Ephesians 5:11. I do claim that because that's exactly what I've been doing. Talking about like the inflation. Let me just get onto the inflation here because all of this is part of it. The inflation, what they're doing to the United States of America is part of the plan. If y'all think that the gas prices and the crisis at the border and the food missing from the shelves and the baby formula, if you think all of that wasn't planned, then you haven't been paying attention. What do you think the whole Build Back Better policy is all about? What when President Trump was in office, the economy was booming, people were working before the whole, Kung flu came into play. Before that came into play, more black people were working, Hispanics were working. Y'all know the story. The economy was booming. We were the #1 exporter of natural gas in the world. We were energy independent. All of this was happening. This was the United States of America. So what in the world do you need to build back better if America was already getting better and America was better than what it currently is? What do you need to build back better? They want to tear down the world economy and then build it back. Like everything I keep showing y'all, they create these crises, they create these disasters. Or if they don't create them, they take advantage of them and use it for their own sinister means. Like I've told y'all before. And like right now with the economy, we're headed for a recession. And a lot of people are like, man, what does that even mean? Some people don't still even grasp what that means. Let me give you an example. In Venezuela, they ran out of zoo animals. Why? Because they ate them. That's what recession looks like. They ate them. People no longer have pets. Why? Because they ate them. Do you understand what I'm telling you? And then a lot of people say, well, this is the United States of America. We are one of the wealthiest nations on the planet. It can never happen here, Will. You're just talking. You're just talking. Have you not been seeing what's happening? I'm not making it up. There's gas stations right now that are saying, sorry, we're out of fuel. There's not just gas, but they're out of diesel. And what do you think? How do you think the food is getting to the shelves? There's an oil refinery that refines diesel in New York that's pretty much bone dry. And this was reported weeks ago. And the truckers there were like, well, how do we get diesel? They can't even transport the goods. People are not paying attention. And then when I come on, I tell people to get ready. They're like, oh, here go Will. He's telling people to get ready again. It makes me think about how it was in the days of Noah. And even the Bible, it talks about it just like it was in the days of Noah and Lot. So shall it be before the return of our Lord Jesus Christ. Same thing. And I'm not the only one screaming about, hey, y'all need to get ready. I'm not the only one. Y'all know it to be true. And then these elitists and these leftists and these communists, they don't like people like me telling the truth or at least saying, wow, maybe he's onto something. They don't like that. And the reason why they don't like that is because more people, if more people start waking up, then they'll have a problem. They will have a problem on their hands because there's more of us than there are of them. Listen to Joe Biden when he was on the beach, and I'm pretty sure many of y'all have already seen this, but Joe Biden was on the beach, and a reporter asked him about the inflation, about the recession that's coming. And he's like, you sound like a Republican. What does that have to do with anything? Listen.
I promise. Recession's even more likely than ever.
Not the majority of them aren't saying that. Come on, don't make things up, okay? Now you sound like a Republican politician. I'm joking. That was a joke. But all kidding aside, no, I don't think it is.
You hear that? So they called a reporter a Republican for asking a question about the recession, and then said, "No, I'm kidding. It's not coming." All kidding aside, right? But look at this one. Have y'all seen this one? This is pretty recent. The Joe Brandon one was just the other day. But listen to the press secretary here as she's asked about the recession.
Yeah. The president said last week that there's no inevitability around a recession, but there is a greater deal of market concern about exactly that. And I know that inflation is your number one concern, but can you talk a little bit about if you're doing anything at all to prevent a recession or a rise in unemployment?
So the way that we see this, and you've heard us talk about this, that we're in a moment of transition.
We're in a moment of transition. We're in a moment of transition. And you know what that transition is? Tearing down the economy. That's what the transition is. They're still in the transition of tearing down the economy because they don't want it to bounce back. They want all of us to depend on the government.
We have seen we are in a unique situation with with the historical gains with our economy. The way that we see it is unemployment rate has held steady at 3.6, which is also near historic lows. Business investment remains strong. Household balance sheets remain strong.
Listen to this, because she's absolutely lying. Listen.
There was an analysis that came out recently that showed middle-class Americans had an additional $10,000 in savings.
Y'all hear this? So gas prices are going through the roof. People are having to dip into their savings to pay for everything. And she's saying that people have an additional $10,000. Where are they getting the numbers from? Who are they talking to? Who are these people? Because it's not the American people. I mean, she must be talking about AOC and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and Presley. I mean, that's who she has to be talking to, because it's not the American people.
Then, before the pandemic, another analysis found that all income groups had higher checking account balances at the end of March than they had pre-pandemic. So we see that the strengths that our economic strength that we have seen from this past year, from the action that the president has taken with the American Rescue Plan, with what we have seen with the historical gains, that is going to help us deal with a recession. Right now, we don't see a recession. Right now, we're not in a recession right now. Right now, we're in a transition where we are going to go into a place of stable and steady growth, and that's going to be that's going to be our focus.
I mean, y'all hear her, right? How many of y'all believe her? I mean, seriously, how many of y'all believe the Biden administration? I really want to know. I mean, I really do. How many of y'all believe her? I mean, she comes out and she says this like she's just reading from her notes. This is what you're supposed to say. She's almost as bad as Biden, right? She's almost as bad as Biden, because just like when Biden goes out before the camera, he's only reading what they're telling him to say. Same thing in her case, because God forbid you ask her a question that she doesn't have on her notes, because she won't know about it because they didn't tell her what to say. But let's listen to a former Secretary of Treasury under the Obama administration, actually apparently advising the current administration. Let's hear what he has to say about the recession.
Is a recession, a mild one, necessary in order to tame inflation? Can inflation at this point be tamed without triggering a recession?
I don't think there are historical precedents for inflation at the rate we now have it coming down to the target the Fed has set of 2% without a recession. I think all the precedents point towards a recession, Chuck. There's always a first time for everything, and I don't.
Y'all hearing this? He says everything is pointing to a recession. He's saying this. And Chuck Todd, he's a total socialist Democrat too. And they're all sitting there talking about the recession. So what is Joe Brandon talking about and the press secretary?
Want ever to make forecasts with certainty. But if you look at a whole range of indicators, if you look at what's happened in markets, if you look at the relative levels of interest rates of different durations, if you look at surveys of consumer expectations, and if you look at the simple fact that what drives inflation is supply and demand. Supply doesn't change that fast, and so mostly what you need to do to reduce inflation is reduce demand, and that is a very hard process to control, and so it usually leads to
recession. And remember, Joe Brandon, day one, he shut down the XL pipeline. And you know he's trying to say that he didn't shut down anything now. Y'all know that? He's actually trying to say that he didn't shut down anything. But anyways, this was Larry Summers, right? He used to work for Obama. And he's advising the Biden administration now. Listen to what Joe Brandon said after he had a conversation with Summers. And let me remind you, and let me give you a little tidbit of information here, to my understanding. The way I understand it, that Joe Brandon standing on the beach was after Summers was on Meet the Press saying that, yes, we're headed to a recession. The day after. This was the day after. Okay? So the day after. Listen.
I was talking to Larry Summers this morning.
He's talking to Larry Summers this morning. So what did you and Larry Summers talk about?
And there's nothing inevitable about a recession. Here's I think we're going to be able.
There's nothing about a recession.
I think we're going to be able to get a change in Medicare and a reduction in the cost of insulin. Insulin, if you know anybody who has type 2 diabetes or has a child who has it.
So he goes on talking about insulin and diabetes, type 2. When that's not the only thing, when he's talking about Medicaid, that's not the only government program. He's not talking about the $40 billion that we have to borrow from China to send to Ukraine. He's not talking about them constantly printing money. He's not talking about them causing the gas prices to go up. They're not talking about the food prices going up. People are putting pictures of the shopping cart online, showing a few items and showing how it costs $150 for just a few things. $150 just for a few things. And again, he's trying to come across like he didn't cause any of the oil crisis that we're seeing in the United States of America with the gas, with the diesel. He's trying to come across like he's here to fix it. And they still want all of us to go with the whole Green New Deal. That's what all this is about. Because, the Green New Deal didn't pass. Y'all remember that? And even though the Green New Deal did not pass, they're still going forward with it because they're trying to force all of us to get an electric vehicle. We can't afford gas, but they expect you to afford an electric vehicle. They're creating the liberal utopia that they've always wanted. Those who can and those who cannot. Listen to him as a reporter was asking Joe Brandon about the CEO from Chevron, talking about, hey, all this is happening because of your harshness towards the oil companies. And Joe Brandon's like, what? Like he doesn't understand it. Listen to him.
A question on the Chevron CEO's complaint today. He said that your administration has largely criticized the oil and gas industry and at times vilified it, and that the administration would need to take a change in approach in order to make progress on reducing energy prices and to increase supply. Do you have a reaction to that, sir?
It's mildly sensitive. I didn't.
You hear talking about the oil company is sensitive. He said the oil company is sensitive, highly sensitive.
I didn't know they'd get their feelings hurt that quickly.
I didn't know that they could get their feelings hurt that quickly. What do you think's been happening for the past 18 months plus? What do you think has been happening? He shut down the XL pipeline day one, and America's hurting, and now they're pointing the fingers at the oil companies for what he has done. Okay, let me ask you a question then. What were the oil companies doing under President Trump when we were energy independent and the gas prices were like $1.78, $1.89? What were the oil companies doing then? Why did they wait until you came along before all of this was supposed to happen?
We need more refining capacity. This idea that they don't have oil to drill and to bring up is simply not true.
Listen to this. I mean, this is the reason why the country's in the predicament it's in right now. Because he'll go before the camera and just go before everybody and just blatantly lie. And they expect you and I not to remember anything. They expect us to have amnesia. This piece of the Republicans talking about Biden shut down fields, wrong. Y'all hear this? I'm sorry. I know some people don't like it when I do this, but I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to play it again for you because I know you missed it. Listen to him. Listen to him, and then you're gonna get these fake fact checkers to come out and say he didn't actually say what he just said. They're literally going to do that because they all protect. Demons will protect demons. Listen. This idea that they don't have oil to drill and to bring up is simply not true. This piece of the Republicans talking about Biden shut down fields, wrong. 9,000 of them, okay? So then we ought to be able to work something out. We ought to be able to work something out. There's 9,000 of them, okay? Meaning, basically, well, I shut down some of them, but there's 9,000 of them. They should be able to still produce oil and do it. Why shut down any of them in the first place? Because they wanted to destroy this nation. Their main goal is to destroy this nation. And again, I'm not trying to bring you any doom and gloom. I'm trying to tell you and warn you to prepare you. You've got to get ready. You've got to prepare for your family. You don't know. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And let me put this out here too. They've already started up on the whole thing about the midterms that's coming up. They're already saying Russia's interfering.
Russia.
They're already saying it. They're already putting it out there. They're gearing it up. Look, it's like they you know what? It's like they can't hide it. So they're trying to convince the American people that
Russia
is already gonna do it. It's all a manipulation game. That's all that it is. And once people can get past it and see how they're trying to manipulate us, then we all can unite and make something change here.
Whereby they're able to increase refining capacity and still not give up on transitioning to renewable energy. They're both within realm of possibility.
You hear that? You hear that? That's the key thing right there. He said and they can't give up on renewable energy, meaning that they want to go strictly to electric vehicles and go to solar 100% and wind. Right? That's what they're saying. That's what he's saying. Basically, like, hey, I'm going to continue to crush the oil industry in the United States of America. So you need to try to figure out how to do it the way we want it with the whole stinking Green New Deal. How many of y'all don't believe me? How many of y'all don't believe me? Well, if you don't believe me, maybe you'll believe this gentleman. This gentleman put it out there years ago. Ronald Reagan, he put it out there years ago for what we're seeing happen today. Exactly the same thing. They tried to do the same thing under Jimmy Carter. I bet you Jimmy Carter look at the situation right now and be like, oh my goodness, I had no idea that you could destroy America so well. I had no idea that you could do it like this. Listen to what Ronald Reagan said. He said this before. He warned the American people, and it's like no one listened. Well, there's a few people listened, of course. But for the most part, the people on the left, they can't even understand. They can't comprehend what Ronald Reagan was saying. They still can't. Listen to what he says here carefully. And the left, they still can't comprehend it.
Until we can get inflation under control, we're not going to get all of the other things that ail our economy under control. We do not have inflation because, as President Carter says, we have lived too well. We have inflation in great measure because the federal government has lived too well. And by that, I mean it has become bloated, incredibly inefficient, and has year after year been spending more money than it takes in. And spending more money than you have leads to inflation. A one-shot, piecemeal approach to the inflation problem simply won't work. It's been tried, and it's failed. Only an all-encompassing program combining restraint in government spending with economic growth in the private sector will work.
And for some reason, the left can't comprehend anything he just said. They just constantly keep spending money. They're talking about more money, and they want to suck the American people completely dry, just like vampires. They want to suck them dry. Makes me think about this movie I saw a really long time ago, called Arachnophobia. And there was this particular spider, and this spider crawled into this casket with this dead body. And there was a dead body. Well, the casket went from one side of the ocean to the other side of the ocean. When it got to the other side of the ocean, the body was just shriveled up because that spider drained the body of all of its bodily fluids. Same thing the Democrats are doing to the United States of America. They're draining us dry. They're sucking everything out. They're sucking the life out of America. And if they can't do it, and it's not even that they can't do it, they're actually doing it. They're doing it at the gas pump. They're sucking us dry. They're doing it at the grocery stores, sucking the baby formula dry. They're doing it at every level that they can. They're sucking America dry. They're just like parasites. 100%. The left is nothing but a parasite. That's all that they are. Explain to me how they're not then. Explain to me how they're not. Because that's exactly what they're doing. And I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm just calling it out for what it is. Do I want them to be parasites? Absolutely not. People are so deceived that they believe that the Democrat Party is actually trying to do something for the American people. And I've always asked this question: name one thing, just one, that the Democrats have done that benefited America. Not a certain group of people living sodomite lifestyle, not a certain group of people that go out in the streets and riot, known as BLM or Antifa. Not a certain group, but I'm talking about the American people. I'm not talking about a certain group like the feminists wearing these kitty cat hats. I'm talking about the American people. Name one thing that they have done. One. And some people go, well, they did healthcare. I mean, seriously? Do you know how bad that was? The government should never be in a position of forcing you to buy something. You understand that? Next, they're going to be forcing you to tell you what kind of shoes you can wear, or what kind of t-shirts you can wear, what kind of hat you can wear. I mean, where does it stop? The government forcing you to buy something. Well, in other news, we had Juneteenth. And Juneteenth's supposed to be, a reminder that black people are no longer slaves. And for some reason, the Democrat Party tried to adopt it like it's something that they should champion. When they encouraged slavery, when they wanted slavery, the Democrat Party has never, ever called for the abolishment of slavery. They've never done it. They try to act like they say that they're against it, but they've never called for the abolishment of slavery. They did a bill not too long ago called the anti-lynching law, right? They did that. And the only reason why they did that, so 20 years from now, they can say that, well, we're the only ones that ended the lynching law, when it was already against the law to lynch somebody. It's a crime. But they wanted to put it down on the books to make it look like that was something that they achieved. But Juneteenth is a reminder that the Republicans, white Republicans and black Republicans, fought against the Democrats, and as a result, black people were set free. And now we have stuff like this. This is a school teacher, and it's extremely repulsive. This is a school teacher doing a national anthem, if you want to call it that, but it's not that. Listen to what this teacher does with the national anthem. And if you ask me, this teacher should be removed immediately. There's no excuse for it. There has to be some kind of rules and regulations put in place to prevent them from doing it. Listen to this. Listen to this.
And one. Fist up.
Fist up. Shake your fist at God. Fist up. Shake your fist at God. That's what it means.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the Afro-American people. Under God, I will protect freedom, seek peace, honor our ancestors, and encourage and support the development and prosperity of people of African descent. You may be seated.
I mean, come on. I mean, seriously, she should be removed. She's actually having her kids recite this garbage. It's literally garbage. The Pledge of Allegiance is supposed to be something that's unifying all of us as Americans. This demonic woman literally excluded more than half the nation. She should be removed, relieved of duty. Why in the world is this happening? Well, you know why it's happening? Because of Juneteenth, they have stuff like this too. They have combs that come out here, and they do these combs, and it's a pick, Afro pick. And they have this Afro pick as if it represents the black community. How insane can this be? How is it that you would think that an Afro pick represents black people? Have you ever known for white people to put a comb out there and say this is for white people? And you know the main reason for doing it is because they say that black people are discriminated against because of their hair, right? They say because of their hair. I worked IT for 20 plus years, and at least 15 of those years, I had dreadlocks. I was able to get advancements. And the only reason why I got advancements is because I did my job. The reason why I got advancements is because I went above and beyond. I did what I was supposed to do. I educated myself. I bettered myself. And I had dreadlocks. And they're trying to say that the reason why they're doing this is because black people are discriminated against by white people because of their hair. And I'm thinking, I'm like, well, if it's about hair, and if I remember correctly, because I did watch this movie, and people are like, oh, Will, watch this movie. I watched this movie called Hairspray. It's like a musical. It's actually pretty good. I got caught up. I wasn't, had I known, I probably never watched it, but I got caught up watching it. I was watching with my girlfriend at the time. I got caught up in watching it, and it was actually pretty good. And they were talking about hair, and it was white people, black people and their hair. Everybody had hair. They were talking about hair stuff. And the reason why they made that movie, because people talked about people's hair regardless if you're white, black, brown, yellow, purple, green, or Asian. It doesn't matter. But they create this monstrosity and say that it represents black people in slavery. And at the top of it has a fist on it. Now I have to admit, when I was younger, I had an afro, poof. Went down here like this, poof. And I had a pick, and I used to pick my hair out just because of my hair. But that pick didn't represent who I was. I didn't have to use a pick. I could have used a comb, just like everybody else. After you get out the shower, you wash your hair, you comb your hair. It's a lot easier to comb it. But if you don't comb it right after you wash it goes for white people too. If you don't wash it, if you don't comb your hair right afterwards, it gets tangled up. It gets nappy. Everybody. Before the invention of a comb, everybody's head on the planet had dreadlocks. They weren't neat. They weren't pretty. But everybody had dreadlocks because their hair got wet and it got tangled up. Some people just had one big dreadlock. Let me play one more thing for you for this insanity. I have to play this for you. This goes completely off the rockers here. Completely. You see the two black people on the screen here. Apparently they're siblings, right? But they have other siblings. And one of their siblings, one of their younger siblings, was just shot in a Dollar General store that's right behind them. They're on here complaining, saying that the person in the Dollar General did not have to shoot his brother, even though their brother was robbing the place at gunpoint. Yes, you heard that correctly. Their younger sibling, was robbing the Dollar General at gunpoint, and they're sitting there saying that they did not have to shoot him. So someone recorded this with their phone, so the audio is not the greatest, but just pay attention. Listen.
These siblings are furious. Their brother, who police say was an armed robber, was gunned down by a store clerk. The pair acknowledges that he was wrong for Roosevelt Rapley to try and rob the Dollar General on North Gettysburg Avenue, but they say the clerk shouldn't have had a gun at work. Rochelle and Juwan Rapley say their younger brother, Roosevelt Rapley, was the second of 10 siblings killed by gunfire.
The second of 10 siblings killed by gunfire. This is the most insane planet ever. Everything is upside down.
Still don't believe it. Like, at the end of the day, I don't believe my brother is dead. It ain't kicked in yet.
And they're furious about how it happened.
At the end of the day, that's not right.
Police say a Dollar General clerk shot and killed 23-year-old Roosevelt, who showed a gun and demanded cash Wednesday.
He showed a gun. He was 23, and he demanded cash. So now the siblings are out here upset, and they want BLM to come there and riot. Because they're like, hey, he was only robbing the place. They didn't have to shoot him. He was only robbing them at gunpoint. Why did they have to shoot him? Wow. How stupid. How this word is insane.
Witnesses indicated that the weapon was brandished and pointed at employees.
The siblings recognize their brother's wrongdoing.
He got some responsibility, but not all.
But they say that still doesn't warrant the clerk's actions.
Right and wrong is wrong. That was wrong for that clerk to shoot my brother in the chest. Yes, he's robbing y'all. Oh, well.
It really ain't funny. yeah, he's robbing y'all, but y'all didn't have to. He's robbing y'all, but you know what? Y'all didn't have to shoot him. He's robbing y'all, but oh well. What? I mean, is this even for real? Did they get all these cops to go out here and just stage this? I mean, seriously. He's robbing the place, but y'all didn't have to shoot him.
Actions.
Right and wrong is wrong. That was wrong for that clerk to shoot my brother in the chest. Yes, he's robbing y'all. Oh, well.
Yes, he's robbing y'all, but oh, well. Like it's okay. Y'all supposed to allow him to rob y'all at gunpoint. And you know what? This is the exact type of thing that, you know, that they now they're on here. This is the exact type of thing that the left loves about black people. This is what they expect black people to be like. This is what they look forward to. That's why a lot of white liberals think that, well, black people, they just don't really understand. They need help. They need assistance, affirmative action, because they can't do for themselves, or they're just too ignorant to realize that they do wrong. I mean, seriously, they actually believe that. But see, and then I come on here, I bet you there's a black person on there saying, listen to this dude. Listen to this dude. He just don't understand. This dude's a sellout. They literally call me a sellout because I don't agree with this black female here saying it's okay that her brother goes into the store and rob him at gunpoint. But then, oh well.
Call the police. That's what y'all supposed to do. Y'all not supposed to take matters in your own hands. If that's the case, I'm going to take matters in my own hands.
Police say the clerk was legally allowed to have the gun. Meanwhile, officers are looking into the possibility Rapley may have been involved in several other commercial robberies.
So the Dollar General wasn't the only place that he was robbing, had robbed. Wasn't the only place. And then the clerk legally had the firearm. And see, the only reason why this is not all over the news is because he held up people at gunpoint. Hey, and the good guy stopped another bad guy with the gun. And they won't tell anybody about it. They won't tell anybody. You will never hear Communist News Network or MSDNC or ABC, CBS. You won't ever hear them talk about it. The local news, they're reporting because, hey, we have something happen here. Let's talk about it. But you never hear the major networks talk about it. Why? Because they don't want you to know that a good guy stopped a bad guy with a gun. They don't want you to know. All right. We're at the end. You know what? I have a lot more to share with you, but you know what? It's going to have to wait until tomorrow. But let me say thank you to a couple of people that joined in. Hey, do me a favor. If you haven't already, share the video. What are you afraid of? Oh, I don't want them to know because that I agree with you, so I don't share it because they may disown me, or my job might find out. You know, that's the sad world that we live in that way. And I have to admit that I'm kind of somewhat guilty at it too, because when I lived in California and I was working for this guy from India, he was Indian. My boss, he was from India. He hated President Trump. And I had to go into meetings and hear how much he disliked President Trump. He would trash President Trump. And I'm sitting in meetings and I had to be tight-lipped because at the time, I didn't even know how to handle it at first. Because I had never experienced that. And I didn't even realize how bad it was going to get. But when I got off work, I would voice my opinion about it. But I was like tight-lipped because I didn't want to lose my job because I have responsibilities. But now, these people, as soon as they find out that you voted for them, we've got to change that for them canceling us. They just canceled Mike Lindell and Walmart. Do y'all understand what I'm telling y'all? If you sit there and be quiet and be quiet and be quiet, and shame on me for being quiet at that time, but at some point I stopped being quiet because it was just too much. I said, no, y'all are wrong. I wasn't yelling at them. I wasn't cursing at them or anything. I said, no, y'all just wrong. And then at my job at the time, then people started making their way over to talk to me about why I supported President Trump. And they tried to convince me that President Trump was racist. And then I would ask them the question, and then they would end up looking stupid because they couldn't prove it. They were just doing the same talking points. But I wasn't yelling at them. But my boss, he still didn't care. He found a way to push me out the door. But you know what? He found a way to push me out the door, and God has been with me ever since. He was with me before then. And it's like, I didn't do certain things because I was afraid, because I had responsibilities. And then it dawned on me, said, you know what? I have to be able to let go of all of this and do the will of the Father, Jesus Christ. Because this life that we're living is so short. I'm willing to bet there's people that's watching this broadcast right now that are in their 70s, getting close to 80. And y'all seen so much, and y'all know this life went just like this. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to waste time any longer and not speak up. And like I said, I put a lot out there. I put myself out there every single day for these people to want to try to cancel me. Let me say thank you to Valerie for the stars. Thank you so much, Valerie. And then Susan, thank you so much as well, Susan. I really appreciate it. And then Michelle, thank you so much for the stars, Michelle. And then Denise, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much. And then Laura, thank you so much, Laura. I really do appreciate it. Sharon, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sharon. Leanne, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the blessings. Then Shirley, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Judy, thank you so much. And James, thank you so much, James. And then Michelle, thank you so much, Michelle. I really do appreciate it. And then Patricia, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Patricia. Dan the man. Thank you so much, Dan. I do appreciate it. Cindy, thank you so much, Cindy. And Phyllis, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then I think it was Sherry on Cash App. Thank you so much, Sherry. I really do appreciate it. And then Jack. Thank you so much, Jack. Let me look here, see if I... All right, I was just looking on PayPal. All right, hey, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for the blessings. Thank you so much for not being afraid to share the video. If you're afraid of sharing it to where other people might see it, copy the link to the video and text it to someone that you trust. Do that. There are ways that we can do this. Copy the link and text it to someone that you trust. Problem solved, right? Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. God bless.